Alright, let's do this. Welcome to Astro Einstein. You know your class. A pleasant good evening. How are you doing? Excuse my junk in the room. If I could get this ever be closed. Hope you guys having a wonderful evening. Today we actually gonna have our first real class going by the book. As you all know, this is the workbook that I normally work from, Astrology for Yourself, a workbook for personal transformation, how to understand and interpret your own birth chart. This book is pretty good. It goes into the minor details of astrology. However, I like to make studying and learning a bit fun. So using you guys' charts and going forward and then coming back and then going forward and then coming back gives you the dynamics of the fun aspect of astrology, the fun way to learn astrology, which is, advancing and then going back to get the rest. Because that's what you guys read anyway. People like to know a little bit of the plot in order for them to get the whole movie. So a lot of people read the book and then watch the movie. Basically, I'm just giving you the same thing, giving you a little thrill. I know a lot of you are interested in learning astrology because you want to learn synastry. Synastry is a fusion of two charts, the energy of two charts, to see the compatibility, the comparison, the fusion, the things that are that are opposite, that are not really getting. You see the whole picture of your relationship with another person based upon their planetary and energetic connection. Synastry is pretty fun, and a lot of people get to matching people or getting to know people through synastry. I like to know who's in class tonight. Let me know so I can know exactly who to be deleting from this chat, from my chat. I am not, like I said, focusing on anybody that's not here. And that space needs to be, eradicated. Just want to make sure. I get to see who does the playback. I get to see who watches. But tonight, I'd like for you to say good night if you're online and you're in the class. I'm waiting for you to say present. Anyway, while you're doing that, we're gonna talk about the signs itself. If you notice, I have purposely not gone over the signs itself because I wanted you to get the energies of the planets itself first. I wanted you to feel why certain signs act the way they act through their planet that rules them. And this is how you go forward to go back. A lot of people like to teach you the signs, and I truly believe that the world just knows their sign. My sign is Aries, so I fiery and I shiesty. This is something that people would formulate as their whole self, but you guys won't be doing that. And this is why I can go through the signs. I gave you the planets and the rulers of the sign. You know, what we're gonna do tonight is a little bit more advanced, but it's gonna allow you to go back and understand the signs. What we're going to do, just to make it a little fun, just a little fun, because we started off with the rulers of the signs, and we started off with debilities and dignities, and understanding the planets and the houses. So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at rulers in other houses. Rulers in other houses. This is another another area of astrology that people sort of misconstrue. They give misinterpretations, but not you guys. You guys you're gonna get this down pat. This has nothing to do with the book, but you are going to get homework from the book, by the way. Now some of you don't have the book, but however, if you need, I could take pictures and place it in the group, which I will do. But I feel better. It'll be better that you purchase your own book. Now we're gonna look at a synastry. No, not a synastry. A chart. Sorry. I was just looking at a former leader, a former world leader. You know, nowadays there's a situation going on in Venezuela. And there's a coup going on. I don't know if you guys are watching the world events, but there's a coup going on, a coup where the United States is putting in their own president of Venezuela called, Guaido, Juan Guaido, and there's Maduro, who was handpicked by Hugo Chavez. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to look at Hugo Chavez, his natal chart. Now, I am going to try my best to make sure that you could be able to see the chart that we're going to be looking at. So I'm going to aim the camera at the chart so you guys can see it, okay? It's going to turn the laptop around. Oh gosh, the glare is going to kill me. This glare is going to kill me. Okay, we're going to bring it a little closer. And we're going to bring it down. I'm going to talk to you while you look at this chart. And we're going to look at rulers of the houses. You're going to take a look, and you're going to take a look at Hugo Chavez. If I was you guys, I would literally try to learn who Hugo Chavez was. We're going to do a little, what's the word? A summary of Hugo Chavez. And let me turn on my mouse. Okay. Is my mouse in? Okay, it's in. It's just that. Alright, excuse the Alright, I see the mouse now. So, who's in this class? I want to know who's in the class. If you look at the chart, you would look to see that Hugo Chavez, he's dead now. There's a question on how he died. They're saying, that he died of a massive heart attack. And they're saying that the United States literally caused his death. I don't necessarily like to teach death in astrology. However, I do it because I feel as if there should not be nothing withheld from astrology. You could go to other astrologers and they would tell you, no, you can't see death in a chart. But why is the 8th house there if it represents sex, death, and regeneration? I don't want you to fear death. I want you to look at death as something that's something to be, to be afraid of. All right? So anyway, we're going to focus on his life on the whole. As you see, his ascendant right here, the AC stands for ascendant. And you can see that it is in the sign of Cancer. It's in the sign of Cancer. As you can see, the AC ascendant is in the sign of Cancer. And remember, we talked about how the sign of Cancer is ruled by the moon. It is ruled by the moon. And as you can see, the moon is right here. My fingers don't. It's right here. So this is the glyph that represent the moon, and the moon rules the sign called Cancer. The AC is the ascendant. So his ascendant is Cancer. Most people who have Cancer rising, if you look at their face, they always look as if they have a questioning face, as if they're upset about something, or they just have this thing about their eyebrows raised as if they're about to question you, or they're about to say something. It's just a natural look of them. It's nothing to be feared, but most people see them as something to fear because of their facial expression. Most Cancer risings wear their emotions on their face. Think about that. The first house represents, or the AC, the first house represents the face or the head. So these people wear their facial expression. They wear their feelings on their face. You literally can see what they're expressing on their face. Most Cancer rising cannot help that. This is a part of their makeup. All right? So when you look at somebody who look at it, so they're always wearing their face, their emotions on their face, they either have the moon in the first house or they're Cancer rising. And Hugo Chavez, the old president of Venezuela, the one who died, had this placement. Now, he was very popular. He was very, very popular in his society. Very charismatic. Very well liked. They just loved him. And if you look at the planet that rules, being jovial and being, popular, the planet Jupiter represents that. And he has Jupiter actually conjunct his moon. So not only is he more nurturing, but he's more patriotic to his home. Because remember now, Cancer also rules the home, or the homestead, or the homeland. So this man was all about his homeland. Okay? All about his homeland. Let's take a look at Mars. First off, let me let you know now, he was a military personnel. He was a commander and chief. So what a person like me or an astrologer would look at is the MC, or the 10th house, to see what his career would be. The MC, 10th house, is sitting on the sign of Aries. So this would point to me, what I look for is where his Mars is. His Mars is sitting over here in the sign of Sagittarius, sitting in the 6th house. Okay? However, this could tell me that he is somebody, or would have done something either in the military or something that's Aries-like. His MC reaching out to career would show that he would have something to do with being Aries-like. And what I would see is, I'd take a look at Mars, and Mars is sitting over here in the sign of Sagittarius, which deals with law, which deals with foreign cultures and foreign countries. It deals with investment. It deals with export and import. And he was a really rich guy. He really was a rich guy. And we could see that because his sun sign, or the 2nd house, which rules your assets, as you can see, the sign of Leo is there. And his sun is sitting in the 2nd house of Leo. So I could definitely tell that this man, Hugo Chavez, from his chart, was fairly rich. He had some money. You could take a look and you could see that not only was he rich, but he was filthy rich, because he had Pluto sitting in the 2nd house, which means that he had power. Not only was he rich, but he also had power, which is ruled by the sign or Pluto. Okay? All of a sudden, you could take a look at how you could just assess this person just from his chart, that this person would have been very, very popular with his homeland and the people that is in his home. So Jupiter conjunct Moon. He would have been, in his career, somebody who's in military that deals with foreign policies and foreign, because Sagittarius rules that. He also was very good at sports, so he played sports as well. He's pretty good at baseball and all these other stuff. So as you can see, this is definitely a part of who he's made up of. Would you take a look at his assets, which we see is Leo, and Sun is in Leo, Pluto is in Leo. He also has his Venus. Where is his Venus sitting? In the sign of Virgo. So he was pretty good with, or you would say, people would say, with money. And he had a lot of investment in early childhood and dealing with health. He had a lot of healthcare reforms. I'm going over his chart so you can understand the ruler of. And we're going to go into you guys' charts in a minute. Okay. So he had a lot of things dealing with health and early education in his society. And the Venus sitting in his third house would have expressed that, as you can see. Right? So this is the ruler of his third house, which is Mercury. I use two planets. I either use Chiron, as in what we say the new form astrologers, they use Chiron or Chiron, and also Mercury. So his third house, let's just say Mercury rules it, is sitting in Cancer. So he felt a sort of a connection dealing with these things: his early childhood, his early life, health, and dealing with education. So these were very, very important to him, as you can see. Now let's take a look at the ruler of, as we're going to go into your chart, you're going to take a look at the ruler of his fourth house. His fourth house is Libra. And Libra is in the sun, or Libra is ruled by Venus. And Venus is sitting in the third house in the sign of Virgo. So dealing with his home and his homeland, this person, which is Hugo Chavez, would have feel a connection to social reforms. Remember now, the third house, even though the 11th house deals with, like dealing with people on a broader base, this brings a connection closer to home, the third house. I don't want to lose you guys, but I want you to understand what I'm talking about. So we look at the rule of the fourth house is sitting in the third house. So there's a connection between early childhood, early education, siblings, dealing with his thought process, and what have you, transportation, and dealing with home, his psychology, his makeup, the things that make him feel sort of connected to his homeland. You got that? I don't hear anybody talking. I need for somebody to say, good night, hello, good night. Okay, maybe I didn't see it. Bonne nuit, Ami. Okay, here. Rashi's here. Bonne nuit. Oh, you guys are here. Sorry, I didn't turn on the messages. Was he an Army pilot? Yeah, he did all those things. He also did that too. I guess you saw that by, I don't know how you got that, but hey. Yeah, so Hugo Chavez had this thing where when it comes to, as you can see, the fifth house, he has in Scorpio. Not much people knew about like his life other than with his wife. He was very, very secretive of who he connected with. Oh, Sag, Aries ruler. Yes. Nice connection. Yeah. But the fourth house, I mean, Sagittarius would rule, the I should say, being on the ground, feet, ruling the feet. He would have been probably a foot soldier. Aquarius, Uranus, and the 11th house would have ruled aviation. So I would have gone in the pilot if there was a connection with that, but I don't see it there unless I can't see this camera too well. Right, so we're looking at rulers in the houses. As you can take a look, in the sixth house, yeah, yeah, but it rules travel. However, aviation itself or pilot would have been ruled by Aquarius. That's okay. Nice to have you here, Shekinah. We're talking about rulers in the houses, or rulers of different signs in different houses. And it affects, it fine tunes a person's chart. Now, people ask if there is, how did he, succumb to his faith. We all know that the eighth house rules death. The eighth house rules death. His seventh house is in Capricorn. However, his eighth house is in Aquarius. And if you take a look at his chart, you'll see that he has Uranus sitting in the sign of Cancer. Even though they said that he died from a massive heart attack, there is quite a question on if that was possible. Take a look at Uranus. Uranus being the rule of the eighth house. In the first house, in the sign of Cancer. What I would say is they think that the United States government actually killed them. I would say that there was a connection to that. There was a connection to it. However, there was somebody from his own homeland who actually, helped to make sure that his demise, he fell in the demise of his own people. So, not necessarily a human being from the United States, but somebody who is connected to his homeland, who helped to actually make sure that he leave this earth. And that is because of the ruler of the houses, or the ruler of the eighth house, sitting in the sign of Cancer in the first house. And you say to yourself, what? I'm lost, and I know. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at you guys' chart. I was just giving an example of how rulers in the houses can affect certain aspects of people's lives. I'm going to turn this around again. And if I could get my face back up. And not so twisted. All right. So what I'm going to do is going to pull you guys' charts up. Enough looking at Hugo Chavez. I just want you guys to take a real glimpse of how somebody's chart, the rulers in the houses, can dictate, small details of a person's life. Now, I need some answers from you guys because I know a lot of these things you guys would know. First off, what planet rules Aries? Not everybody at once, but somebody. Yes, Amazine, Mars. Yes, Shekinah, Mars. Exactly. I'm going to ask these things very much. Yes, Rashi. I'm going to ask you things sporadically. Which planet rules the sign of Aquarius? The planet that rules the sign of Aquarius. Yes, Keja. Saturn is one of the rulers of Aquarius. Aquarius is something like Pluto, like Scorpio. They have two rulers, Saturn and Aquarius. However, modern astrologers use Uranus as the ruler of Aquarius. Nice to have you, Keja. I see you made it. Yes, actually, Aquarius, by tradition, I said earlier, by traditional, I mean by New Age astrologers, Aquarius rules the sign. I mean, Uranus rules the sign of Aquarius. Traditional astrologers would have said that Saturn rules the sign of Aquarius. Remember now, traditional astrologers or all astrologers never really equated Uranus, Neptune, or Pluto to ruling any of the planets. I mean, any of the signs. However, we've moved into the modern age of when we've allowed or seen or connected with these planets, and we put a rulership to those planets. Saturn actually rules Capricorn. Capricorn is ruled by the planet Saturn. So for this class, we're going to use a term that's called secondary ruler. All right? We're going to use the term secondary ruler. There are 3 signs that have secondary rulers. Scorpio. Scorpio has Mars and Pluto. Traditional astrologers use Mars as the ruler of Scorpio. However, New Age or modern astrologers use Pluto as the ruler. However, in my class, you're going to use Pluto as the ruler of the 8th house and Mars as the secondary ruler. Aquarius has 2 rulers in tradition. In modern and tradition. In traditional astrology, Saturn rules the Aquarius. However, in modern astrology, Uranus rules Aquarius. So for this segment, we're going to use Uranus as the ruler of Aquarius and Saturn as the secondary ruler of Aquarius. The third one that has 2 rulers is Pisces. Traditional astrologers equate Jupiter to being the ruler of Pisces. However, Neptune is the ruler in modern astrology. So what we're going to say is Neptune is the ruler of Pisces, Jupiter being the second ruler. We're going to repeat that. Scorpio, ruler Pluto, second ruler Mars. Aquarius, first ruler Uranus, second ruler Saturn. Pisces, first ruler Neptune, second ruler Jupiter. I want you to understand that. Because when you buck up into people that are, modern astrologers, when you have this conversation, you'll be like, I thought Jupiter was the planet who only ruled Sagittarius. They'll be like, no. It's a secondary ruler of Pisces. This is why when Neptune isn't making any sense in the chart, we look to see what Jupiter is doing. So I want you to be familiar with that verbiage. Who was the first person to say goodnight? We're going to see right now the first person. Okay, Rashi. Take a look at Rashi's chart. And then we're going to go into Abi. And then we're going to go into Dale. And then Chicana. And then Geja. Even though we have 6 people in the class. So, wait. Rashi, oh yeah, you're Colby. We're going to take a look at the rule of the houses, okay? Of your chart. Pick an area. Pick an area of your life that you would like to know why it's working or going the way it goes. I'm going to give you the opportunity to actually study you, to know why you are, why your life is going a certain way in certain areas. Each one of you pick an area of your life. And we're going to focus on that when I get to your chart. So, work. Okay, Keisha has a question. Would you say that people with signs ruled by the same planets, even if it's secondary, have similar in personality? That's a very, very good question, Keisha. Very, very good question. Would you say that, and I'm going to repeat it, would you say that people with signs ruled by the same planets, even if it's secondary, have similarities in personalities? That varies. That varies if where the planets is sitting, you know, and the aspects that those planets have to other planets. Those they fine tune, but I could say on a general basis, I would say, yeah. But even though that may be the case, Jupiter, even though it's a secondary rule of Pisces, may be in a different a different house than somebody else's, or a different sign than somebody else. So there may be, it may have to define them, you know, a little bit more. And that's why it, you know, we are so different. No matter, you know, we could be separated by 3 minutes, and our personalities are different. So that's a very, very good question, Keisha. That was awesome. Okay, I'm about to be on. Okay, that's okay. That's why I had. So, okay, so we'll go with you, Keisha. If Rashid will permit, we're gonna look at Keisha's chart. She won't be inside class too long because she has to go. All right, Keisha Jones. Okay, good. So Keisha is a Libra rising. Let's take a look at an area of your life that you'd like to look at, Keisha. Seeing that you have this opportunity, and we're gonna look at the ruler of that. Okay, so career. If you know very well that you have your MC sitting, or the MC would represent your career or the area of career that you need to focus on, and your MC is sitting in the sign of Cancer in the 10th house, what planet rules Cancer? Anybody? We just talked about this. What planet rules Cancer? Exactly, the moon. So what I do is I'll take a look. Good, awesome. All of you guys are on point. You're answering at the same time. That's pretty cool. So what I would look at is I look at where your moon is sitting. And looking at your chart, your moon is sitting in the 4th house in the sign of Capricorn. What I would necessarily say is you have two things that you're very much feels a connection to. One is politics, because your moon is conjunct your Uranus. First off, so I would say that you're a humanitarian by heart. That you're connected to politics in a sense. However, I would put a sense of nurturing into it since your moon is in Capricorn, and I would put the government in it. So I would say that if I were you, based upon your chart and your north node being in the 10th house, I mean your south node being in the 10th house, I would say that you have a natural ability to be a nurse, a natural ability to do nursing or medicine or anything dealing with nurturing in a public setting. What I would say is you're a natural of nurturing people. You would make an awesome nurse or somebody that's very nurturing, who could, you know, rule, who could do like old folks homes or dealing with things that deals with in a humanitarian effort, because your moon is conjunct. I mean, it's a wide orb, but it's still conjunct. So I'd look at your chart and say moon sitting in the sign of Capricorn, which it could also rule the government. It could also rule society. You know, I'd say two things: politics or nursing, or in some form of fashion, some form of nurturing. Does it make sense what I'm saying here? And are you sort of feeling lost when it comes to your career? Because your MC is conjunct to South Node, which means that it could be something that's actually something you've done in the past, or according to the theory of reincarnation, It can be something that you've done in a past life, and that's something that actually could come natural for you, but something you could feel that you need to move on from. And because your North Node is sitting in Capricorn, right? You're saying yes to what exactly? Because I want to know before we move on to somebody else. So the ruler of your 10th house is sitting in your 4th house. So a person with her placement will always be, this is Ami's question. So a person with her placements will always be successful when it comes to public relations. I would not necessarily say, always. Oh, you were confused with selecting a career. Well, those two areas will actually yield promising to you. Believe it or not, those two areas would yield promising. With Saturn ruling your 4th house, setting in the 5th house of Aquarius, and Aquarius being nurturing. There's also a capability of doing something humanitarian for kids, or feeling a sense of responsibility towards kids. That could also be a connection as well. Yeah, so that's another area. So it's not grounded just to one particular thing, but any of those areas that deals with, I want you to see the broader aspect or the broader perspective of how planets can show you areas or energies that you could focus on, and it still will make you just as successful. And getting back to Ami's question is, would she be, successful? Whenever you work with the energies of your planets, as opposed to against them, there is an ease, so to speak, an ease of of a flow. It'll be a flow more so of friction. When there's a square, there's going against the grain, then there's friction. However, sometimes friction brings dynamics that can yield prosperity as well. But according to our placement, yeah, I would say yes. The areas of what I've mentioned would make very much good career choices for you, Kejo. And that's the ruler, looking at the ruler of your 10th house or your MC when you're looking for the career. You look for that planet, you see where that is, the house that it's sitting in, or whatever that house rules, you formulate what they rules. The home, it deals with society, what I call being patriotic. It deals with psychology, your psychological makeup, old things. It could also represent, and with Saturn representing old people, and your moon and your sign of Capricorn being nurturing. That could also, like I said, being nurturing to older people. And Saturn being inside the 5th house also means that this could extend to also dealing with kids as well. All right. I hope if you're understanding the ruler of that. We want to make sure that you get this clear. Who's next, Rashi? So, Cage, if you have another question, that's still fine. I'm glad that you're in class. I know you're a pretty busy lady, so that's still cool that you're here. Rashi mentioned her MC. Her career. And your MC is sitting in the sign of Scorpio in the 11th house. Scorpio in the 11th house. I think we talked about this. We mentioned this before. The 11th house is very much, dealing with internet, social networking, your friends, associates. It also deals with, believe it or not, aviation, the internet. Say online. Oh. Rashi, do you have one of those voices? Those sex voices. Say, Okay. No? Hey, they may be hitting at something. You never know. Woo! Well, the sign of Pluto, Pluto is very obsessive, controlling. Say I do not. Well, your MC is sitting in the 11th house in the sign of Scorpio. Hey, Deandra, how you doing? Glad that you made it today. Well, your 11th house, your MC. So let me recap for you, Deandra. We're talking about rulers, or the planet ruler, the planets of signs. The rulers of certain houses sitting in other houses or in the same house. Doesn't matter, but that's what we're talking about. Yeah, so Pluto, is, could be the obsessive controlling. What I would say is because the ruler, and the secondary ruler are sitting inside the 11th house. It's trying to your Uranus, which is a good aspect, I would say working in aviation. That would probably be, people would say sex worker. I don't know if I'd say that. But I'd say something dealing with aviation where you're in control of something, or you're focusing. I don't know exactly what it is that you do, but I see that you have your Mars, your Mercury, your Pluto. As a matter of fact, your Mercury is conjunct your MC. So there's some form of, dealing with communication, dealing with anything dealing with of that nature. Because it actually, is trying to Uranus, which also rules aviation. Okay, all right. KJ, if you want to, like I said, because, you got to listen, I'm going to have your homework and the page. I think you have your own book. I'm going to set the homework in this group, and in this chat, on this live feed. I'm also going to put it inside the group. There's many different ways. Like Dale had hinted off to that. That's online sex. Don't write it out. Don't don't exclude it. It's in your chat. Also, would have been a good understanding is going into, if you had gone into medicine also would have been another area. I would have said surgery, or being a surgeon, because Mars is sitting inside the sign of Scorpio, and Pluto sitting inside the 11th house. I would also say, so I'd also say a surgeon. I would say that. I would say a surgeon working for the government. Yeah, so you thought about it, and you canceled it out because you said it was too much years in school. Okay, so you canceled that out. And the universe had it that, you gave up that one. But however, some form of aviation was sitting there. You could also actually, start on your own program, your own internet program. You could do things like marketing on the internet, overseeing different sites, because MC is sitting there inside the sign of Scorpio, which also, is the controlling, obsessive. You could also be a psychologist, believe it or not. You could actually be make money through your associates, your friends, for giving them deeper insight. Let me give you another hint. You could also do things that are very deep and profound and use occult knowledge on the internet. Who knows? That could also include astrology as well, because you have a trine Uranus, and I'm going to give you information that you have your Pluto in the 11th house, so you have an impact on your friends without you even knowing. All right? See? Exactly. They always come for you for advice. So this is another way of you making a career through something that's occult, that's dark and mysterious, something that people could say, wow, just went deep, So look at that. That's also an area that you could focus on and actually yield prosperous gains. I hope I was very much direct. As you can see, the ruler of Scorpio is Pluto. The secondary ruler is Mars, and both of them are sitting in your 11th house of associates, of friends, of internet, of social networking, of aviation, of humanitarian efforts. This could also be something that you could focus on as well. Like how Dale said, sex work, online sex worker. Don't rule that out. Don't rule that out. So anyway, yeah. So we'll be very clear with that. Who's next? Ambi. Let's take a look at your chart, Ambi. I like to do love life partnership challenges on mine. For mine. Okay. All right. Chicana, that's way to switch it up. All right. Okay. Time come. Okay, you're right here. Let's take a look at Ambi's chart. You're gonna take a look at the ruler of what area did you ask for, Ambi? I'm not sure. I don't want to know if I want to scroll all the way up because you're the talk. I didn't see anything. Oh, you did it. Okay, what area you'd like to look at? Just let me know. Now we're gonna look at the ruler of that house and see where that is sitting. And we're gonna see how that affects that area of your life. So you gotta choose quickly. Let me know exactly. Okay, so give me I'll let you choose. You want me to choose? Really? You're a Leo rising like me. I'll have you to choose. Focus on an area. Any area. It could be your physical body. Okay. So, Rashi, you're choosing for. You're saying family. See, Rashi choose for you. Now, you go with that or you go with something else? Let me know quickly. Time is rolling, and we want to get to all of you guys one time, so you get a gist of your chart and how other people's chart and how the planets affect. Why don't we take a look at an empty house? I know, a Leo rising, right? Well, she's a Leo rising. So you're going to look at family. Family it is. Now, I'm going to ask you guys, which house rules family? We can see who've been studying, who've been learning, who've been learning the houses. Which house rules the family? Awesome. Yes. It says the fourth. The fourth house rules the family. And looking at Ambi's chart, we can see that she has Pluto, she has Scorpio ruling the fourth house. Scorpio ruling the fourth house. And Pluto is sitting, the ruler of Scorpio is what planet? Pluto. And Pluto is sitting in that house of Scorpio for Ambi. What do we know about Scorpio signs? What do we know about Pluto? Pluto is very possessive. It's very controlling. It's very jealous. It rules sex, death, regeneration, these sort of things. Yes, and also secretive. Exactly, Deandra. And secretive. We could equate all of those things and put that into Ambi's chart. And we could say that her home life is very secretive. There are secrets about her family life that is hidden underneath. We could also say that her family is very controlling of her, or was very controlling of her. There could also be a struggle or a power struggle in the home. These are things that are connected to the sign Scorpio and the planet Pluto. See, because Pluto is sitting in its own sign, it doubles that factor. It makes it even more potent. So there's more secrets, family that deals with sex. So there could be possibly, and I'm sorry if this is intruding on your personal space, there could also be secrets about sex, controlling family members. This could be controlling situations at home. This could be power struggles at home dealing with sex. This could be secrets. This could be obsessiveness in the home, power struggles going from up to low. This could be dealing with starting a home and then destroying and moving, and starting something new and then building it up and then moving. All of these things are energies of Scorpio. This could also means that one can feel like a prison, or I shouldn't say, yeah, a feeling controlled by their family, like I said earlier. There can also be jealousy in the family, regardless of how you may be so very connected. And I know people say, you know what, so what? Pluto is sitting in its own sign, so it gives this the positive, the energy that's supposedly, so. But remember, the moon naturally rules the fourth house. And the moon is not comfortable in the sign of Scorpio. Why? Because it's in fall in the sign of Scorpio. Remember that? It's in fall in the sign of Scorpio. So that means that Pluto, which rules Scorpio in the fourth house, which rules, naturally ruled by them, would not be comfortable being controlled. You won't be able to express your feelings of how you want to. You not being able to express in your home, feeling that your emotions are stifled by your family members. So this could create an emotional baggage. So this would necessarily, this could equate to your home life. And if I'm hitting, positive stuff, we could necessarily, you could actually, sorry, because you're pretty quiet. You're pretty quiet, Abby. I would like for your classmates to actually, I want you to delineate by knowing that Scorpio is in our fourth house. Was never able to express myself even as an adult. Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy. In the next, what we're going to talk about, we're going to go into all of that. We're also going to go, the next time we talk about this, which is next week, we're going to talk about rulers in the houses and the aspects. So we're going to break down how those things. Well, that's pretty good, that you're knowing. See, this is what astrology does. It gives you the opportunity to know that you're not going with the flow, that you're not just an android. You're not just an android, yeah. You're doing it, you know. Okay, so who's next? Let's focus on an area of somebody else's life, and I think that's Dale. Dale, you're next. Oh no, yeah, Dale, because you kind of came after Dale. Dale, what area of your life would you like for us to focus on? While you're focusing on which one you're gonna say, I'm gonna I'm gonna look at Shekinah's on, seeing that you're probably away from the TV right now, and Shekinah. Oh, okay. So you're here. Don't just say okay. What area of your life would you like us to focus on? Oh, Pisces rising. Oh, elusive. No, you don't like that. I won't say it anymore. Um, let's focus on an area. Let's take a look at one of the areas of your life, the rulers of one of your chart. Or you're saying okay to us focusing on Shekinah's on. Okay. Yeah. DeAndre, do you know exactly which house rules spirituality? Okay. So I'd like to focus on a career in terms of international working and manifesting talents at home and away. I just you just had to be ah ah you just had to be complicated. Focusing on your career and dealing with it on an international, well, focus on career in terms of international networking and manifesting talents at home and away. Okay, so your MC, which, well, okay, so believe it or not, two of you are correct. The ninth house and the 12th house rule spirituality. Well, the old timers say that, the ninth house rules religion, and then and the 12th house rules spirituality. However, I've realized that both of them are connected to, in a sense, to spirituality. So to a lesser extent, ninth house, to a more wider extent, the 12th house. So both of you are actually correct. Dale, when answering your question, okay, love and work, tell them, okay, no. We're going to focus on what you said, which is working internationally. And I realize that your MC is sitting, your 10th house, your MC is in the sign of Sagittarius. And what planet rules the sign Sagittarius? Class, what planet rules the sign of Sagittarius? Anybody? Which planet rules the sign of Sagittarius? Yes. Awesome, Shekinah. Awesome, DeAndre. Jupiter rules the sign of Sagittarius. And Jupiter is a planet that's very jovial, very lucky, very happy-go-lucky. It deals with exactly what... Yes, it's a lucky planet. It also is a planet of expansion, knowledge, wisdom. Neptune and Jupiter. No, I mean, Neptune doesn't really rule Sagittarius. Neptune rules Pisces. But your Neptune is sitting in the 10th house, if that's what you're referring to. Jupiter is the planet that deals with religion, it deals with foreign countries, law. It deals with also, like I said, lawmaking, religion, spirit, in a sense. That's a sense, in a sense, spirituality as well. Foreign cultures, countries, languages. It deals with foreign exchange, import, export, that nature. No, you're not done. No, you're not. You just mentioned Neptune because you know Neptune is sitting inside Sagittarius, and that's fine. So what we look at is we get a look at to see where Jupiter is sitting inside her chart, and it's sitting in the 7th house. First off, the career deals with MC, and the MC is in the 10th house in the sign of Sagittarius. That deals with foreign people, foreign cultures, religion, spirituality, any of these areas, higher education. These things are a part of your sense of career. And not only that, you also have Neptune, the planet of spirituality, conjunct your MC, which also can show that your career can be connected to spirituality. Okay, we have time. Yeah, sure, of course. Once we get Deandra, and then you next. So you have your Neptune, which is the planet that rules spirituality, also as well connected to your MC, which also displays your career. But let's take a look at Jupiter. Let's take a look at Jupiter. And your Jupiter is sitting in the 7th house. Remember now, I'm not going to focus on the sign as yet, what it's sitting in first. Let's take a look at Jupiter in the 7th house. And the 7th house deals with what? Not all at the same time, not all at the same time, but everybody try to give me an answer. I'm going to tell you anyway. While you're typing, I'm going to tell you. The 7th house deals with diplomacy, partnerships. It deals with beauty and fashion. It deals with, also deals with, believe it or not, like, enemies. It deals with law. Not only does the 8th house deals with law, but it also deals with like cases. So lawsuits could be represented by Jupiter. By the 7th house. However, your Jupiter is sitting in the sign of Virgo, which is the sign that rules service. Remember now, Virgo rules health. Yes. You know what you do well in, which I've suggested? You do well with dealing with partnerships on a spiritual level. Haven't we hinted that before? Dealing with partnerships on a spiritual plane in a sense, or being of service through spirituality. Because remember now, the planet is Jupiter is in the sign of Virgo. Even though it's in the 7th house, it's in the sign of Virgo, which deals with service, health. It deals with those two in particular of service and health. And this could connect you to dealing with international people, foreign cultures, spirituality, service and health, partnerships. So I would say that you would have good luck doing partnerships, dealing with spirituality and service in spirituality. Um, Remember now, Jupiter is also the teacher. It's the teacher, higher education, stuff of that nature. So I would give that connection to you dealing with spirituality and service. That would be a focus that will continue and carry you out throughout your whole life, making you feel a sense of fulfillment. And even your partnerships may need an aspect of being a spiritual connection. So there's a fine connection to both of them. Say, sip my third eye chakra tea. And I hope I was you looked at your seventh house. I mean your career in a more clear aspect. But that we could focus on the finer details dealing with the aspects to different planets, but we're not gonna focus on that this not today. I don't want to confuse you guys. All right. Don't want to confuse you guys. And I know there are some people who are following who are still lost. But like I told you, I want you to come in my PM, say in the group, I don't know. Nobody's dumb. Nobody's dumb. No question is dumb. None. So no children inside for my career as far as luck and concern. Of course. Of course there is. I'm sorry. I didn't mention to you that you have that I know you hate it. Yeah, because you have your sun and your Mercury sitting inside the fifth house, which deals with children and teaching, and you know, your moon ruling Cancer sitting inside the third house of formal education. It's all the ties. However, your career, the one you feel that you need to be seen and known in, is in spirituality. And you can still also deal with the kids. However, however, dealing with partnerships and spirituality would yield something much more grander. Why don't you? I say go for it. I say go for it. Your chart is literally saying it, and I would do that. I wouldn't limit it to just kids though. I would also not just limit it to kids. I would also have an adult section because it's showing that you could get the kids there. However, it seems as if dealing with partnerships is going to open that a bit more because Jupiter is sitting in your Jupiter is the planet of luck and expansion. It's the planet of luck and expansion and it's sitting in your seventh house of partnerships. Like it is spilling right in your face saying, I know you love the kids and that could still be a part of you. However, there's a greater picture for you dealing with partnerships and a service to them through a sense of spirituality or a sense of you, if you get where I'm coming from. Yeah, so I'm glad that I did that. Let me see if I have. Please tell me I have your chart near the other. Please. I want to make sure I get this down back if I have this. Okay, I do have it. You were born, you're a Cancer rising, right? Wait. Sorry. Shekinah. Oh, I could overlook you like that. My bad. DeAndre, you're next. My apologies, Shekinah. Don't eat me up. Yeah, Dale, it's literally it's pouring out of your chart. Where Jupiter is, I would follow where Jupiter is. Especially if it's connected to your 10th house, that means that it would yield. Shekinah, you talked about love and relationships. What house rules relationships? I mean, when I say relationships, not necessarily partnerships. Remember now, romances are seen in the fifth house. Yes. Partnerships or long term relationships are seen in the seventh house. And just flat out, deep rooted sex is seen in the eighth house. Uh, in order for long term relationships, it has to go through the fifth house. Fifth house is the dating courting scene. You can't go into the seventh without going to the fifth. Unless sometimes it happens where you meet somebody and then you just, boom, sudden marriage. You meet each other inside Vegas and you get married. You're skipping the courting scene. That would be seen in your chart. You probably have Uranus sitting in the seventh house, have no connection to the fifth. Yeah, but that's not the case when it comes to you. Or if it's arranged, boom. Or if it's arranged, that could also be possible too. All right. Your fifth house, which rules your sense of romance or your courting aspect, and I think Rashi and Ambi said seventh house. Seventh house is long term commitments. The fifth house is romance and beginning relationship. It also rules sex too, because the fifth house also fun is part of sex. So that just letting you know. The fifth house rules romances, children, recreational stuff, things you find fun. It deals with a sense of gambling or what's the other word they want to use? They use for that anyway. Remind me. So the fifth house rules out those things, or your sense of creativity as well. And your fifth house is ruled by Leo. Leo is sitting on your fifth house, Shekinah. And what planet rules Leo? Yes. Yes, Rashi and Shekinah. The sun rules the sign of Leo. So what we do is we're going to look to see where your sun is sitting in your chart. And all of you guys have your own charts, I'm sure. Yes, I mean, the sun rules the sign of Leo. And your sun is sitting in the sign of Taurus, in the second house. Your sun is sitting in the second house. Yeah, and Taurus is ruled by Venus. But we're not going to go into the branches of, we're just going to focus on the planet, the ruler of the house in a different house. So it's sitting in the second house, in the sign of Taurus. And what is Taurus? Taurus is stability, assets, finance, money, a sense of stableness. So if we take a look at possessions, yes. When we look at your fifth house, and we take a look at your romances, we'd see that in order for you to date or to feel secure in a date, there has to be a sense of stability. Now remember now, Taurus is very slow, but very steady. So this person wants to take it one step at a time gradually. Remember now, Taurus, don't mind Taurus, the bull, even though you may think that Taurus is very rushy because of a bull. However, Taurus is very slow and deliberate. So it takes it time. With you, romances would have to have a level of stability in order for you to feel connected. Your romances needs to be slow and deliberate. Your romances are also very sensual because Taurus is a sensual sign. So you would feel your romances are very sensual, but also very slow and deliberate. And there has to be a sense of stability, or there won't be any romances. Also, your romances, you tend to be a little bit more possessive of your romances. So you could come off as somebody who is looking for long-term stable relationships through your romances. Say LOL, yikes. You're looking for stability through your romances. It is a natural trait of somebody who has their ruler of the fifth house sitting in the sign of Taurus, and especially the sitting in the second house, which also doubles that. So you could take on a sense of seriousness through your romances in order for it to be fun. You didn't talk about children, so it necessarily we won't connect with that. We're gonna just talk about your romances. So that is doubled. Think about it like this: the sun, Taurus, and then your sun sitting in the second house, which is naturally ruled by Taurus, is a double whammy. It's a double whammy. It just is. It's sitting in Taurus and sitting in the second house, and Taurus naturally rules that. You would like to know if you will have kids. According to this, it's showing that you are pretty much very fertile. Taurus. And the sun sitting in the second house. You're asking if you are. However, it seems as if you having kids is directly connected to your sense of stability, to your sense of possessions. So even though Rashi, why are you trying to scare her? So your kids are directly, or your sense of having children is directly connected to your sense of stability, your possessions, your sense of self-worth. Because remember now, that also is ruled by the second house, the sense of self-worth. What's that? The price of pampers is sky high. Y'all so quick. Oh man, something wrong with y'all, you know. I'm gonna go into detail about the aspects that leads to your sun, and another when we get to the aspects of planet rulers or sign rulers and houses rulers. Probably next week, not Thursday, next week, because we need more time with this. I want you to get this. I want this to marinate in your head. So as you can see, your sense of having children are directly connected to that. I know we're gonna go a little over, and that's fine because it's already 7 minutes to 8. What you say? Milk costing more. Oh boy, and children pop up on y'all. So the question about your children is directly connected to your sense of self-worth and your ability, your sense of stability financially. All right, the minute that your higher self sees that you can afford all of that, your vagina's just gonna be popping like Pringles. Don't say I ain't tell you. Oh, you're taking a look at our Taurus providers. You're talking about the men, DeAndre? If we're talking about the men, we'd have to take a look at, you know, their the ruler of Taurus, of both sex. Um, I'd say so because remember now the sun also represents the father, so this would mean that the father is a breadwinner. He is somebody that would do his best to make sure that they have a stable home, stable finances. So they as a man, they would literally pattern after their father, and so would the moms as well. So I would say yes. I would say that they would do their best to make sure, even if their ruler of the if their Venus is sitting in a very hard place, then that can basically, turn off. Hmm. That's awesome that you had her chart read. That's pretty cool. Maybe one day we'll take a look at your sister's chart. Shekinah, for sure. When you is that the same one I met inside in Barnes and Noble? If it is, that's pretty cool. We could take a look. Oh yeah, she is a Taurus rising, your sister. Um, when she's ready, we could, you could connect. We could take a look at her chart, and we could she could join the class. I'm sure she's just as enthused as learning a chart as you are. You both express that. So like I said, Shekinah, I gave you that example of how you having children is connected to your finances. Oh, okay. All right then. Let's take a look at your chart. Say I'm depressed. I'm on the one path in life. What makes you think that? That's not true. Oh Lord. Say, oh no, Coke salad. Dale, you're not on the wrong path. There's a path that is more easier, and there's a part that is more so not so easy. You know, that's it. That's all. It's showing that it will wield money towards you, but just that. Right. Exactly. Exactly. Thank you, Deandra. Okay, so what area we're looking for at you, Deandra, because you're the last person to go. So, we're going to take a look at your chart. Deandra's the Cancer rising and moon in Leo. On the rocky down road. Let's go, Deandra. We're very close to 8 o'clock. And I got to give you guys your assignment. I think you guys should, take a look at, like I said, at your MC. If you're looking at career, take a look at the rule of your MC, what house is sitting in, the sign is sitting in, the aspects of that planet. Let's take a look at marriage. Oh, so we're looking at partnerships, the 7th house. I have a question for Deandra. What sign is your husband? If you don't mind me asking, what is his sun sign? Oh, he's a Scorpio. How did I guess that? Uh, it shows that you have the 5th house in Scorpio, which means that, there'd be a connection, an all or nothing sort of mentality when it comes to courting. And you have Pluto sitting in your 5th house. So even in the courting stage, you are the person that would be all or nothing in your courting. So that would have been probably a really serious sexual connection, a sense of funness dealing with your husband, especially if his sun is conjunct your Pluto, I'm sure, and you have Union and Valentine sitting in your 5th house. Okay, so the ruler of your 7th house, your 7th house is in the sign of Capricorn. And what planet rules Capricorn? What planet rules Capricorn? Rashi. Yes. Yes, Ambi. Rashi. Saturn rules exactly, Shekinah. Awesome. Saturn rules the sign of Capricorn. Yes, Deandra. And you have your Saturn, or the ruler of your 7th house, sitting in your 7th house. Believe it or not. So even though Saturn is the restrictor, Saturn, remember now, I didn't go correctly into all of the dignities and debilities. But because Saturn rules Capricorn and is sitting in the sign of Capricorn, it is in its own kingdom, its own dignity. Let's take a look at your DNA. So your Saturn is sitting inside in the 7th house, and it rules your 7th house. It's also conjunct Neptune. What I see, honestly, is that your partnerships, there is a word I want to use for you. There is an, according to your chart, there's an over emphasis on marriage. Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus. This would have meant that because Uranus is sitting there and Neptune, I could use the planet, or 3 of those planets, and say, oh, Shekinah, I think you had a question that I didn't answer. I'm going to get back to that. Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune sitting in the 7th house, I would say that, first off, how old is your husband? Secondly, how quickly did you get married? Thirdly, was it a very eccentric or different kind of wedding or marriage? Okay, so you were 29 when you got married. Really? Okay. Most people, did your Saturn return? Please say your Saturn returned. I hope your Saturn returned. Right. Okay, so he's 29, you're 28. You got married very quickly, which is represented by Uranus. That's sudden. Energy of Uranus sitting there. Neptune, which means that it's probably was a spiritual, marriage or a spiritual connection with your marriage partner. Saturn being there means that you're going to probably, if your Saturn has returned, if it has returned already, then your marriage could last a very long time. However, if it didn't return before you got married, there may be a sense of heaviness or a hard sense of responsibility towards it. You may feel a sense of restriction towards it. This is why when I see people have Saturn in the 7th house, I would suggest, making sure that their Saturn has returned. Because when Saturn returns, when it reaches the same position that it was when you were born, it breaks down things. So getting married after your Saturn return, or when it returns, or right after it returns, would have been the best bet, which is pretty cool. That was a pretty strategic move, even if you didn't know that you did it, consciously. So Saturn being there, I would say that you have to keep your marriage a little bit more, unique. Do not conform to completely. Always keep the spirituality in your marriage, which is represented by um, Neptune. I would also say that your marriage partner is also very spiritual. He has a sense of either that, or you would bring spirituality into your marriage partner. There's also, and I like to give the good or bad, to be honest with you, there's something very much about your marriage partner that you basically can't put a finger on. Even though he may have the same routines, there is just something about him that you cannot really put your finger on. It's a cloudiness that comes with Neptune. All right, just letting you know, there's a cloudiness that comes with Neptune. However, channeled in a positive way, if he has a more spiritual way, if you tune into the spiritual connection of your relationship, your marriage, that cloudiness would start to wither away, and the focus, the energy would be on the spirituality of that marriage. So the ruler of that house sitting in its own house strengthens that, especially the fact that it's sitting in the seventh house. So I would say that because your Saturn return, there's a possibility of a long, long, long lasting marriage. There's a strong possibility of that, especially sitting in his own sign, his own. There could be a happily ever after with this. Okay. It's 8:06. I hope I answered your question. I'm gonna give you guys your homework, which should throw you guys off a bit, because let me take a look. Where is it? Okay, so last week we focused on the aspects, what you're gonna do, what you're gonna do. I want you to get acquainted with your aspects and the degrees of your aspects. Yes, it does. That's a good observation. It prepares because it's the Capricorn and Saturn is the father time. Which is the father time. Your homework, which is connected, and I want you to take a look at. You're gonna take a look for the guys who have books, and for if you don't, I'll take a picture of it. You're gonna take a look at exercise 150. So you're gonna take a look at from pages 152 to 157. All right. You're going to list the planets, or planet A, the aspect, and planet B. 156 shows that illustration. You're going to list the planet A, which is like Saturn, let's just say Mars. The aspect, which would be probably trine or square or conjunction, whatever it is in your chart. And the next planet has that aspect too. On page 157, you're going to see the symbols of that. So first off, you're going to write the name in 156, and you're going to write the symbol on 157. Okay? This is going to get you familiar with all of your aspects in your chart. This is due day after tomorrow, which is Thursday, Right? All right, cool. Oh, you know what? You guys, it's Valentine's on Thursday. Gonna give you the day off. We're gonna take the class on Friday. Just letting you know. Just to do what you gotta do with your whoever that person is inside your life. Your fifth house. Your fifth house or your seven houses. Okay, so this is due on Friday, and we're gonna pick up on Friday. I'm gonna give you guys the opportunity to spend time and Valentine's. I'm gonna be in the grave. I'm gonna hail my father. He passed away on this day. So yeah. You guys enjoy your Valentine's. And your homework is check out pages 152 to 157 with emphasis on 156 and 157. All right, guys, have a wonderful evening. Thank you for tuning in. It was awesome. Class always good, especially when you guys are asking questions and seeming interesting. Once you're learning, this is awesome. I might as well tell you now, at the end of it all, it's all going to pay off. I assure you. All right? Have a wonderful night and good night. We can talk in the chat. If you have questions,